Can you expand the phrase? No. I've heard that several times.
Good morning. Please stand and sing with me. We got good things going on. We got good things going on. You can see it on each and every face. There's sweet spirit in this place. We got good things going on around here. We got good things going on. We got good things going on. We got good things going on. We got good things going on around here. We got good things going on around here. We got good things going on around here. We got a simple message, says so much, filled with happiness and love. We got good things going on around here. We got good things going on. We got good things going on. We got good things going on. We got good things going on around here. We got good things going on around here. We got good things going on around here. You can see it on each and every face. There's enough to see. We got good things going on around here. We got good things going on. We got good things going on. We got good things going on. We got good things going on around here.
Thank you. Good morning and welcome to Unity of Columbia. And as we gather here today, are you ready to get in receive? Are you willing to be changed and transformed? Are you open and receptive? Yes. This month we celebrate Juneteenth, and it's a reminder to us about freedom. It's a reminder that we're one in spirit, that we're one with each other. And I loved Wednesday's daily word. It's all about freedom. And here's the opening affirmation. I am a channel of God's freeing love. Can you say that with me? I am a channel of God's freeing love. And just breathe in those words. Feel that freeing love. It says, as a member of the human family, I feel a responsibility to help care for others. That each person deserves happiness and freedom. Isn't that true? Yes. History is filled with people who have made a difference, who've helped their fellow citizens have a better and freer life. And how did they do that? They did that through the strength of God in them. And that's the same for you. You have that strength and that power of God within you, the divine love that helps you to speak up and stand up for those who have no voice. And when we commit to this idea of freedom in consciousness, the world will be a freer place, a more loving place. So Kristin's going to speak to us about Juneteenth today, and I know this is going to be something that you will be waiting to hear that's especially for you, so I'm looking forward to that. I've been at convention all week, the Unity Convention over at the Village. It was an amazing week. 72 new ministers were licensed or ordained. See, we're part of the movement. Wonderful. And I went to the graduation ceremony, and here they were giving out certificates and various other ordinations and licenses. And here was a certificate of completion in advanced metaphysics. Kristin Cherry So you know where to go if you need to know about metaphysics. And so this is the time today for us to check in with our freedom. Ask yourself, am I free in life? Am I free in expression? Am I free in my soul? Remember that this freedom was given to us at birth. It's our heritage, and we need to use it and embrace it. So let's stand and greet each other and declare today, I am a channel of freedom.
Grace's mother was Joyce. Joyce.
J sounds right. Keep going, Judith.
These are good. There, she's lovely.
That she was.
Please join me again in singing, coming together. Sing with me. I got love.
I got love.
I got joy.
I got peace.
I got joy. Flowing like a river. I got love. I got peace. I got joy. Flowing like a river. One night. One love, flowing like a river. I got hope, I got strength, I got faith to move every mountain. I got hope, I got strength, I got faith to move every mountain. One heart, one mind. One love to move every mountain. I got you, I got me, I got us coming together. I got you, I got me, I got us coming together. One heart, one mind. One love, coming together, we're coming together, we're coming together. One heart, one mind, one love, coming together. One heart, one mind, one love, coming together.
Good morning. Thank you. My name is Bill, and we are grateful for all who contribute to our service today. And I want to say how happy I am that the Unity Orchestra is back together. It's got great, and I especially want to say we are so glad that Steve is back. We have Julie back last week, and Steve back to their house of food. We're grateful. Welcome everyone to Unity of Columbia. Thank you to those joining us online. Let's all wave. It's a fun thing to do. And to those of you in the sanctuary, thank you. And we ask that you make sure your cell phone is turned off. And we especially want to welcome you if this is your first time. Additional information for Unity and who we are will be picked up in the foyer. Today's reading is by the author There is a power that revolves in and around, out and beyond us, at a rate equal to the atomic energy in our material beings. Let us elucidate this power, which is revolving in space as light. This light, as we understand it, is electronic. Because we possess it, we can use it for the benefit of all of us. I love that evolved thinking, that evolved spiritual thinking of the flowers. Now, please join me in affirming our vision, mission, and core values. Our vision is to celebrate the spiritually awakening world. And our mission is we inspire the awakening and practice of divine love in every heart. In addition, we celebrate our core values, knowing that we have come here to be spirit-centered and to express the values of love, peace, and connection. And now it's time for our children to gather in front of the sanctuary for our children's moment.
I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine.
So today I noticed that it was very sunny when I got up. And it's just single clouds, right? You guys see the sun this morning? Well, when you were walking in, just notice the weather. It's pretty nice, right? Yeah. It's like a pretty perfect day. Perfect day to go swimming or cool off with a sprinkler or something like that, right? Well, do you think that the weather's always going to stay like this? It goes through cycles, right? Quite so hot, not so quite so hot as maybe August is, but it's sunny. But clouds will come. There will be storms. Even in the middle of summer, there will be storms where clouds cover the whole sky. It gets kind of dark, right? And have you ever heard the phrase, the silver lining? Look for the silver lining? Yeah. Right. So even if it's like a dark, stormy day, you can still do fun things, right? April showers, maybe, yeah. So the rain sometimes comes, and then something beautiful can come from it. So something to think about in our own lives is there are times where we feel really great, everything's going just the way we want it to, and then there are times where things maybe aren't working out exactly as we thought, right? And do you think it would be useful to think about the silver lining when things aren't going exactly the way we want them to? Right, you can stay positive. What's something that you do when you're trying to think of a positive, something positive about something that's not going the way you want it to? So you kind of make a pros and cons list maybe. You're kind of like, okay, this isn't going the way I want, but this is something that is fun, that is happy, right? Yeah. Well, so today our affirmation is, I find the silver lining. Okay? And listen to it. I find the silver lining. We love you. Bless you, we appreciate you, and we will Christ you are.
This is the light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine. This is the light of mine. I'm gonna
The announcements. Next Sunday is Super Salad Sunday. Now, bring the very best salad you have in your recipe book, and we're going to share it. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm excited about that. And I'm excited about that the only announcement. Today's daily word is generous. The affirmation is, I honor the divinity in others through my generosity. There have been times when I relied on the generosity of others. I remember feeling grateful when they shared what they had with open hearts, not thinking of how I might reply to their kindness. This is the true gift of generosity, not just the material offered or the services rendered, but the feeling I am worthy of someone's time, treasure, and effort. This love and compassion was at the heart of my generous impulses too. I give, not out of pity or even out of obligation or duty, so others may know their worthiness through me. Each person is a divine being, made in the image and likeness of God. I honor each person's divinity by doing what I can to help and support them. Others have helped and supported me. Proverbs 22:9. Those who are generous are blessed, for they share their bread with the poor. Now, let's say our affirmation together. I honor the divinity in others through my generosity. And now, say it to yourself.
For the healing of creation, may your truth that justice and every reach may we learn to live as one. Let us pray for peace, for the healing of creation. May your truth and justice and every reach may we learn to live as one. Let us pray for the healing of creation. May your truth and justice and every reach may we learn to live as one.
Each quiet moment of reflection. We turn our thoughts to the world around us. The world teeming with variety and evils. We relax and breathe deeply, allowing our breath to center us, bringing us into a space where we can ponder profound concepts of diversity and inclusion. Inhale deeply, feeling the air fill your lungs. The same air shared by every living being on this planet. Exhale slowly, releasing tension, opening your heart to the richness of human experience. Diversity is the vibrant heartbeat of life, woven with countless races, colors, beliefs, and lifestyle choices. and a value contributions of the whole. Recognizing this diversity, we acknowledge the variety of cultures and traditions that shape our identity, the spectrum of abilities and talents that all people possess, the range of experience and backgrounds created our specific, special view of life. You can imagine a garden filled with flowers of every hue and color, each one adding its own beauty to the landscape. Without this variety, the garden will soon lose its charm and vitality. It's very reason for being. Inclusion is the act of nurturing that garden, ensuring every flower has the sunlight, water, and soil it needs to thrive. It's about creating spaces where everyone feels valued and respected, able to contribute their best selves and fostering inclusion. We commit to listening with an open-minded heart, embracing differences and seeking their understanding, building environments where everyone's voice is heard and valued. Visualize a world of diversity celebrated. Inclusion is the goal. Picture communities where every individual feels seen, heard, and appreciated. Imagine workplaces where diverse perspectives drive innovation and creativity. Envision societies where differences are not just tolerated but shared as strength. Now, as we enter into our silent meditation, let us widen the space within ourselves for listening to God's infinite guidance in more perfect unity. Let us all. As we bring our meditation to a close, we breathe deeply once more. Let the awareness of diversity and inclusions fill our heart. Commit to carrying this awareness into all our daily actions and interactions. Exhale slowly, releasing any remaining tension, and feel a sense of peace and purpose. Know that by embracing diversity and fostering inclusion, we contribute to a more just, compassionate, and vibrant world. And so it is. Namaste.
Pray for peace, for the healing of creation. May your truth and justice mend every breach. May we learn to live as one.
Good morning. It is wonderful to see everyone here. Thank you so much for coming. As many of you know, I'm a teacher, so we're going to start out with a little quiz today about Juneteenth. I want to see how much you know. So we're going to start with an easy question and work towards maybe a little harder questions. So, question number 1. What was the first state to make Juneteenth a state holiday? Nope. Texas, yes, Texas. Any idea what year that happened? Guesses? 1980, that's correct. So what year did Juneteenth become a federal holiday? 2021, I think I heard. So pretty recently, just a few years ago. So what president is the one that declared that a holiday? Joe Biden, all right. So we all know a little bit about Juneteenth, as I expected. Good. So, as you probably guessed, I'm here to talk about Juneteenth as a lesson in freedom of consciousness for all. I'm excited to share the things that I've learned at the Unity Urban Ministerial School, as well as things that I learned in my master's degree in sociology. So I'll be combining those two elements as well. I'm about to take you on a journey in consciousness. So when we understand that there are several misconceptions behind the Juneteenth holiday, we can become enlightened to the legacy of a higher consciousness. And that higher consciousness is one filled with light and power. So first I'm going to talk to you about those basic misconceptions and behind our understanding, and then I'm going to explain how Juneteenth is a perfect example of consciousness raising. So first, I want to start with a Bible verse that's relevant to this. And this Bible verse comes from John chapter 8, verses 27 through 36. This is the New International Version. So in this verse, Jesus is at the Festival of the Tabernacles, and he's explaining why, after a dispute about who he was, what kind of occurs among the crowd about his identity. They did not understand that he was telling them about his Father. So Jesus said, "When you have lifted up the Son of Man, then you will know that I am he, and that I do nothing on my own, but speak just what the Father has taught me. The one who sent me is with me. He has not left me alone, for I always do what pleases him." Even as he spoke, many believed in him. To the Jews who had believed in him, Jesus said, "If you hold to my teaching, you are really my disciples. Then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free." They answered him, "But we're Abraham's descendants. We've never been slaves of anyone. How can you say that we shall be set free?" Jesus replied, "Very truly, I tell you, everyone who sins is a slave to sin. Now a slave has no permanent place in the family, but a son belongs to it forever. So it is the Son who sets you free, and you will be free indeed." So in Unity, when we talk about sinning, what we're actually referring to is error thinking, or thoughts that are a disconnect between us and our divine identity, or a block between us and recognizing the divine identity in someone else. So Jesus is basically saying that anybody who is thinking from a consciousness of lack and poverty is essentially enslaved in their own mind. The descendants of Abraham, they didn't understand that because they'd never been physically enslaved before. So they questioned Jesus. And he responded by saying he's not referring to physical slavery experienced by the Jews. But what he was talking about was the mental slavery that each person creates in their own mind. We shall use our intellect and seek correct information, and then rest in the idea that we are divine. That's the ultimate truth. This is the path to freedom, according to Jesus. So, going to the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary, we can look at the Feast of the Tabernacles. And essentially what that was is it represents the harvesting and the gathering of surplus energy. So throughout the feast, each day symbolizes a movement in consciousness from the material world, the physical world, the human world, to the absolute realm, the divine realm, the realm of perfect goodness. So on the last day of the feast, the union occurs through faith. And Fillmore tells us, when the soul thirsts after truth, it can be satisfied only by drinking in this higher life. So I want you to hold in your mind that idea about freedom and truth, and I want to see how this applies to the Juneteenth story. I did a lot of research about Juneteenth because, as we talked about, it's a relatively new holiday. It wasn't celebrated when I was in elementary school, so I had to kind of learn all about it and whatnot. And what I came to realize is the story that I thought was true was actually not historically accurate. So I thought that I would first share some of these misconceptions you may have as well with you to kind of delve into the importance of the Juneteenth holiday. So the story that I had understood as it happened was that President Lincoln freed the slaves. But not everybody received the news because the communication technologies at the time, they didn't have the internet, they didn't have phones, so it took a while for news to travel. So Galveston, Texas is pretty far away. It took them a long time to find out that they were free. And it was two and a half years later that General Granger and his troops showed up in Galveston, Texas with General Order Number 3 to tell the people the good news and let them know, hey, guess what? You're free. Well, that kind of also suggests that they were the last community to receive the news on June 19, 1865, thus marking the end of slavery. Well, turns out that's not exactly what happened. So misconception number 1 about Juneteenth. They didn't know it had ended. They did. Let's think about this for a second. Galveston is a port city, okay? So this is the city where the boats from Africa would come straight there and they would deliver the slaves. From the boats, the slaves were immediately marched to the auction block where they were given a price and they were auctioned off to the highest bidder. And then they went home with the people that had purchased them to become their new slaves. In Galveston, the primary job of slaves was working in picking cotton, not a very pleasant job, if you will. So basically, the entire economy of the city of Galveston was based on the slave trade, because they had boats coming in every day with new people. So there were several known correspondences between the Galveston officials and the federal government officials in which the city said, I quote, "If you want them, then you're gonna have to come get them, because we're not gonna let them go." They knew. They knew about the order. They chose not to follow it. So what happened next was, well, let me tell you. At the time, the population of Galveston was about 10,000 people. So next thing you know, in about 1865, all of a sudden, they see 6,000 soldiers coming to their city to enforce this General Order Number 3. And guess what? 4,000 of those soldiers were black. So what an amazing thing to come and happen, because they knew they had the freedom. They were just waiting for the ability to express that freedom. So they came, and the slave owners were forced by gun to release the slaves. The troops came to enforce, not inform. So similarly, in our consciousness, we have ideas and thoughts and behaviors that we know aren't in alignment with our greatest good. And if we don't recognize and realize it consciously, we do have it going on at the unconscious level. So it's really difficult to let some of these thought patterns go because they have been with us so long that they provide us with a sense of comfort. So it often takes some outside force to come in and give us a wake-up call, whether it's another person or an event, something that happens. And you know what? Resistance is just a natural part of change. It's okay. But change is not easy and it takes effort. So we must understand that when we rest our consciousness on the light and love of the divine essence, we surrender to the divine goodness that is inherent within ourselves. And this brings me to the second misconception, that Juneteenth marked the end of slavery and freed the slaves. So as we already mentioned, in 2021, it was when Joe Biden signed that federal holiday, signed a bill to make it a federal holiday. Now I want to quote directly from that bill. Part of the bill reads, quote, June 19th, the day slavery officially came to an end quote. This bill assumes that the last black slaves were in Galveston. And just to let you know, that was not the case. The incorrect wording in this bill actually leads to an invisible black history that I'm ready to make visible today. Here's how it happened. In 1963, when Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation, it only applied to the states that were rebelling against the Union. Therefore, it was not applicable to the border states, such as Missouri, Maryland, Kentucky, and Delaware. Additionally, it did not apply to states that had not weren't formed yet, like Georgia. So guess what? At the end of the Civil War, it's estimated that there were 225,000 black people that were still enslaved. So I love the Emancipation Proclamation, and you must remember that it did prepare people. It did prepare and influence citizens to advocate for the abolition of slavery. It did not end slavery. That is a misconception. I was actually discussing this with an intellectual friend of mine who happens to be black, and he asked me when talking about this holiday not to use the word freed. So I asked him why, and he explained to me that when slavery ended, racism actually became worse. The year after the Emancipation Proclamation, the KKK began, and that was the start of mob violence, lynchings, and all of that stuff in our history that is frankly disgusting. Then we had the Jim Crow laws, and they separated individuals by the color of their skin. A different version of slavery existed. Even in the 1970s, with the end of the Jim Crow laws, the legacy of structural inequalities remained due to policies in housing, policing, and education. And this still keeps many blacks trapped in the American apartheid of poverty. So let's go metaphysically to see how this represents us. We can see that the path to freedom of consciousness is not quick. It doesn't just happen one day. It takes effort, work, and constant focus. At times, we may feel like we're stagnating and maybe not making it, getting further, but if we're patient and we keep our mind centered on the divine, then we are an active participant in the growth of our spiritual consciousness. There will be obstacles to our achievement of enlightenment, but without these obstacles, we'll never be challenged to grow outside our comfort zone. We should be grateful for them. There are no mistakes with the divine plan. As long as we remain centered on our inherent divine divinity within us, we are open to the spiritual growth that we crave. We must persevere with a pure heart and mind and see the divine goodness behind any spiritual redirection. I'm not going to say obstacle anymore, it's just a redirection that we may experience. And guess what? I shouldn't say freed, I mistypo there. When the black slaves in Galveston received the news, they expressed gratitude for their newly found freedom. But they didn't thank Abraham Lincoln for the proclamation. They praised God for their freedom. They knew this was the ultimate source of the freedom of their souls. So the final misconception, and probably the biggest and most damaging one, is misconception number 3. And that's the one of separation. I feel really disappointed when I hear people refer to Juneteenth as the Black holiday. Over the past couple of months, I've been working on this talk. People ask what my topic is, and I'll say Juneteenth, and they'll say, why do you want to talk about that? Or they might go after my credibility and say, but you're not Black. I can't understand this mindset because it's this creation of the other. I don't see that. The creation of the other is a group that is different from you, that is separate from you. And when you create this other, it's actually damaging to your psyche. So in the spirit of true unity, we know that first, we are never separated from the divine. And we know that the divine is made up everything. Everything is divine. Everything is divine essence. Every substance in this universe and the space between that substance, that's all divine. So we are all connected through our divine inheritance as a child of God. Therefore, there's no separation in God. We create that separation in our consciousness, in our human minds. And that's error thinking on a whole nother level. By embracing the divine essence of ourselves, our neighbors, our enemies, everybody, everything, every creature, we are embracing a true unity in consciousness. Consciousness of separation will never understand the true unity of the divine and the sheer goodness that it contains. So metaphysically, we know that everything is energetically connected. And this is not a new idea. Preparing for this talk, I read solely Black authors, and I was specifically drawn to one named Sarah Flowers. We heard a quote from her earlier. She's absolutely fabulous. She was writing at the exact same time as Charles Fillmore. Her book is called Atomic Metaphysics and was published in 1947. Fillmore's book, called The Atom-Smashing Power of the Mind, was published in 1949 and relied on manuscripts of his earlier talks. So you can see they were coming up with the same ideas at the same time, which fits into the science of the time because quantum mechanics began to be developed in 1925. So the premise of atomic metaphysics, according to Flowers, is that we each have a body and it's composed of electrically charged atoms. And we can turn them on and off like a light bulb. This provides us with all the power that exists within the universe. When we turn on the light for a greater understanding, we are electrified by a powerful dynamic force of divine essence. Every atom of the body contains this vital energy. Flowers states, the whole universe is composed of vital energy. The controlling powers of the mind should be light and understanding. Ignorance breeds fear. Knowledge breeds courage. So Flowers, like Fillmore, believe that the greatest power in all creation is thought. She also writes, as the oak is potential in the tiny acorn, so is man potential in his thought and action. In the thought world, peace is synonymous with perfect thought. She used the term thought attraction, which is essentially the same thing as the unity concept of the law of mind action. So she essentially tells us that our every dream can be fulfilled by electric thoughts, thoughts of light and power. In other words, the light of the divine spark within us. As Flowers tells us, there is even more atomic energy and electric power in our spoken words. To access the divinity within, her prescription is this. First, right thinking. Second, she calls them declarations, but essentially affirmations. And then third is by visualization. and she encourages us to pray no matter what we are doing. She states, "Like the natural power of electricity, so is the power of prayer." She defined prayer as pure thinking, the thoughts that come from the higher planes of your mind, the thoughts that electrify your being and magnify your consciousness to the extent that you can feel the light. We are, at our most basic essence, light and power. This is the freedom of consciousness, that same freedom of consciousness that the black crop workers felt when they saw troops arriving in Galveston in 1865. Seeing 4,000 black troops was transformative and inspiring because they had never seen a black person in a position of authority. Immediately, their consciousness was open to new possibilities. And now they were seeing these men liberate them and empower them in their world. So when we understand the misconceptions behind Juneteenth, we're enlightened to the legacy of a higher consciousness, one of light and power. I discussed some of the basic misconceptions behind our understanding of the Juneteenth holiday and the metaphysical interpretations that you can take away. And you know what? I can see your light and your power already. It's already there, just waiting for your consciousness to arrive. As Jesus reminds us, you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. I'd like to leave you with a quote from the book from Sarah Flowers. It's a poem, and it's actually anonymous, but I thought it summed up every single thing I just said. Your mind has the way of a magic mill once you have learned how to use it. And if you take thought, it will work for you, so long as you do not abuse it. Your thoughts are the grist that feed the mill, and wonderful stuff they make. For mind is changing thoughts to things, whether you sleep or wake. Not ceasing, the mill goes on with its work. Take care what you give it to grind. Only beautiful thoughts can make beautiful things. Take care of what you have in your mind. Thank you.
We are brothers, we are sisters, joined together, together in love. We are brothers, we are sisters, joined together, together in love. We are brothers, we are sisters, joined together, together in love. We are brothers, we are sisters, joined together, together in love. Love, 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 joined together, together in love. Love, 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 joined together, together in love. We are brothers, we are sisters, joined together, together in joy. We are brothers, we are sisters, joined together, together in joy. We are brothers, we are sisters, joined together, together in joy. We are brothers, we are sisters, joined together, together in joy. Joy, 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 joined together, together in joy. Joy, 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 joined together, together in joy. We are brothers, we are sisters, joined together, together in peace. We are brothers, we are sisters, joined together, together in peace. We are brothers, we are sisters, joined together, together in peace. We are brothers, we are sisters, joined together, together in peace. Peace, 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 joined together, together in peace. Peace, 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 joined
This is the time in the service when we put ourselves into the law of circulation, knowing that in order to receive, we must give. This morning, you are invited to support your spiritual community and consciousness. I now ask you to take your offering, whether you give electronically, by check, or cash. Please hold it in your hand and your heart as we say these words together. Divine love, one with me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I give, and all that I receive. I am joy-filled and grateful. This is the time in the service that we recognize two symbols of blessings. First is the love offering given this morning. We bless these gifts and are grateful for this opportunity to make a difference in the lives of our spiritual family and our world. Second is the prayer box. In prayer, we expand our awareness that we are expressions of God. We receive an abundance of all that we need to fulfill our soul's purpose. Now is the time, thank you. Now is the time in the service that we hold others in prayer. Please speak your loved one's name aloud so that we can collectively hold space. For all the names on our heart, know that you are heard and seen in our collective God mind. Filled with that abundance, please rise and sing with us the prayer of protection.
God, see the light of enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is.
We have two Unity chaplains who will be available after today's service to pray with you. As you move into your week, I invite you to show up in the world as you were wonderfully and beautifully made. Enjoy pure love and open to all others. Wherever you are, God is.